This was a game of set pieces, so let's jump straight in. Let's have a look at where Gabriel started from. As he makes that run on the far post, he is now ahead of his player. As the ball has curved in more than expected, Gabriel is forced to do a header pass rather than a header goal. As you can see here, Saliba and the Arsenal guys are in front of the Chelsea guys, and so Saliba gets at the end of it, and it's a goal for Arsenal. This is Chelsea's corner. Let's take a look what happened here. Here you can see Declan Rice. He has both his arms around the Chelsea player. They both take a jump, and Declan Rice is stopping the Chelsea guy from jumping up. Ball hits his arm, which is extended, and yet it is not called for a penalty or a foul. The ball goes towards an own goal, but David Raya ends up getting at the end of it, and that was a massive save. Chelsea get another corner, and this time it ended up being a goal. So let's see what happened here. Again, we see Declan Rice on his man, but keep an eye on Hincapie to his left. Hincapie gets the header, and it ended up going into the goal, so that's an own goal there. For Arsenal's second goal, take a look at Gabriel here, but more importantly, take a look at where Jurrien Timber is. What's going on here is that when Timber makes the run inside, the guy marking him has his back towards the ball, and that's why when Timber jumps, it's an easy goal.
A proper London derby was, and we expected that because of the quality of the position, because the individual quality that they have, and because we played them 4 times already, so we know how good and difficult they are to play against. After we started the game so well, the first half it was very, very dominant. I think the margin, the scoreline should have been bigger, but we were 1-1. Game on. I reminded them that we were in the exactly same position against the Spurs 7 days ago in that dressing room. They said, and look what happened in the second half, so we're going to do it again. But probably we're going to have to go through some difficult patches to earn the right to win the game. And we certainly done that. We took the moment to score the second goal, and after the red card, we all expected a very different outcome in the last few minutes. But we didn't manage to control and dominate that scenario as good as we wanted. And on top of that, Chelsea did some very, very good things in that period. And we needed David to win us again.
Alex, BBC. Hi, Mikel. A lot obviously going to be made of how good Arsenal are from corners. They got you over the line again today. Have you had to go to another level with them this season because of how much size are focusing on that aspect of the game?
Yeah, but every team, to be fair, look where they are in terms of the amount of goals that they score, and they have more quality in their squad probably than anybody else to create. And the team and the game at the end got decided in this aspect. So we haven't scored set pieces for a few weeks now, but we scored so many in open play. Today was an option to score from this kind of situation. We've done it so well, and we conceded as well.
Amy, Athletic.
Hi Mikel.
Hi.
I'd like to ask you about someone who doesn't always get the headlines, and that's David Raya.
Okay.
Today it felt like, as usual, he really made some unbelievable saves. How vital is his personality, his presence, what he brings in that department?
Well, David is one of our leaders without a doubt, and he's a keeper that knows how to maintain his focus and decide a football match when you need him, because sometimes he doesn't participate at all, and then in one action you have to be there, and that's very, very difficult to do. And the save that he made in the last action, it's a cross, it's not a shot, but he ended up being an unbelievable shot, and I got the right angle, and was just, my heart almost stopped, but David's hands was there to get it back to life.
How was he afterwards? He looked like he might have got an injury at some point, and also he was quite animated at the end talking to Hincapie. Is he okay in every way?
I don't know what happened in that action. He had some niggles this week, so I don't know if it's related to that. But yeah, overall very happy.
Tom, from London.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
We talked last week ahead of the Tottenham game about how you control the end of games following the Wolves draw, and you talked about keeping the tempo, keeping calm. After the 85th minute, your team completed just 7 passes in that 11 minutes that was left. How big is the challenge in trying to keep the players calm and do their roles in those moments of high pressure?
Well, that's what we have to do. To train game context and scenarios is becoming really difficult because we don't have time to train. And to replicate those moments is almost impossible because the emotional part is not there, and the quality of the opponent, you cannot do it, basically. But it's certainly something that we'll discuss tomorrow because we have to improve it and do better. But at the same time, you have to give credit to Chelsea for the manner that they've done it, the way they use the keeper as an extra player, the courage that they showed, how they get out from tight situation is unbelievable. Any player, Lavia, Caicedo, Cole, there's not many players that they can do that and cause you the problem and turn you around.
Matt Telegraph.
Hi, Mikel. I'm sorry, it might be the lighting, but it looks like you've got a black eye.
Black eye?
Yeah, your left eye. You okay?
I'm very good, thank you.
No over celebrating, have got back.
How's your fault? Okay.
That's literally, I just wanted to check it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a hug now. Thank you for checking on me. Very good.
We'll go to Phil from PA.
Okay, earlier you said your heart almost stops with that in injury time in those moments. Well, what's it like when you're watching that and you can't control it, and what goes through your mind? And are you expecting it basically to be like that now for the next couple of months if Arsenal can win this title?
No, I try to stay calm, but obviously we weren't getting the dominance and the sequences of play that we wanted and expected against the 10 men. So you have to navigate through that, and it's a big part of the game. And when you see the manner how the teams are winning games, everybody's suffering. The manners and the margins are so small. So it's good.
Last couple, Nick from Haters Press.
Hi.
Amy just mentioned possible injury for David Raya. A lot of players really put themselves through it and suffered.
Yeah.
Sort of Declan Rice was struggling, but are there any injury problems you think looking ahead to the next game?
I don't know. Declan has to be substituted, so you're going to have to get checked and see if he's available for Wednesday, unfortunately. And the rest, hopefully, okay, but we don't know.
It's going to be hard to start that same team every match, isn't it, with all these games?
No, we haven't done it. I mean, we're going to have to make changes and give opportunities to everybody to be fresh.
And finally, Miguel.
Mikel, you mentioned everyone is suffering there. Are ugly games a bit inevitable with the calendar now for the end of the season?
Yeah, well, it's not ugly. You have to play the game that is there for you to play, and against Chelsea, you know exactly the game that you're going to play, and for me, it's a beautiful game to play because they have so much quality, and you have to adapt so much to what they do, and they have to do the same against us. So the margins are very, very small, and the duels at the end decide these kind of games, and hopefully we can play many top games like this.
I think it's clear. I think it's clear where our strengths are, and I think it's clear to everyone what we need to improve on. I felt as a group, including me, we learned our lesson last week. To concede 2 goals from set plays, which ultimately has cost us the game, is really disappointing. To have another red card, again, really disappointed. They're not things that we haven't spoken about, because there is a lot of good. I don't want to be sat here saying how well we play every week without picking up the points. We need to start finding a way of playing well, which we have done in large parts of my time with the group, but we also need to pick up points very, very quickly.
The gap between the 2 goals was 4 minutes. I mean, it was a very quick, turnaround, wasn't it? I mean, is that down to mentality?
Sorry, the gap between...
Well, it was very quick, put 2 yellow cards, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, it's disappointing for Pedro because he's a very, very good player, and we want him on the pitch, and up to that moment he was actually causing Arsenal so many problems. The frustrating thing for us, not just today, but we're going to miss him against Aston Villa, but it's not just Pedro. I think as a group, me as the leader as well, we have to take more accountability for some of the decision making we're having in terms of our discipline and in terms of the moments of the goals we're, not just today, the goals we're conceding, some of them are just, they're not acceptable at this level.
Peter.
Hi, just on conceding goals from corners. Last time you were here, we saw you had 2 corners and both times you pushed 2 3 players up. Why didn't you do that today?
One, they would have prepared for that themselves. They're very, very good at that. 2, when I actually analysed those corners back, they were very, very close to scoring. It's not always the outcome. Sometimes there are certain things that happen. Also, in terms of our work this week, which obviously didn't work today, we've conceded from a corner against Burnley. We worked on a certain scheme. It's the first time the lads have done it. It didn't pay off today, but we need to make sure we're better in those moments, because at the moment we're losing points, not based off our performances, but based off of set plays and discipline.
Matt?
Liam, on discipline, what are you and the club doing about it, or going to do about it? I think we've asked yourself and the previous head coach about finding players before.
Yeah, fines are, you can find players. It's not about the punishment, it's about finding the reason why. I don't think Pedro Neto today or West Fofana last week would have in that moment been thinking about, oh, if I get a red card I'm going to get fined. It's a focus and a concentration thing that we need to get right. I know the record of the club is not great from the start of the season, and now it's getting bad. We had 10 games when I was in where we didn't have these issues, but we've had 2 in 2 games. So there's something deep lying that we need to get to the bottom of. The thing is, for me, if we get to the bottom of those 2 main things, we can be a very, very good team, and we can achieve all the things we want to achieve.
It's not just red cards though, is it? I mean, there were some very silly yellow cards. I mean, Enzo gets booked for chucking the ball down. That's the 7th Premier League booking for the season. He could still get booked for 2 games if he gets 3 more bookings.
Yeah, I think dissent is a frustrating one for any player to get a yellow card for. I've sensed it. You're right in terms of what you're saying about a disciplinary record. Some of the decision making today, on corners, on certain fouls. I think João Pedro was fouled probably 5 times in a row in the first 10 minutes, didn't get a thing, and frustration builds up. I'm not blaming the referee for our defeat today, but there are clear things that happen that cause frustration, and I think that's something that needs to be looked at as well.
Liam?
Just on the yellow cards as well, there are different rules for different types of yellows, aren't there, that you can maybe put in, but dissent in particular is something that is predated your time here.
Exactly.
Initially this squad. So is there something that maybe the club can do as a blanket rule just on dissent as a policy?
Possibly it's something we need to do something for sure. I need to speak to the coaching staff, the staff around the club, the players, because it's not acceptable. Because especially the last 2 games, we've caused our own issues, even here against a very good team. You can see there's a lot of good in our play. There's a lot of good technically, tactically, the quality of our play. But if we don't eradicate this, it's going to be the thing that costs us.
Jacob?
It's 7 goals conceded from corners since you came in. The record was quite good before that. What do you think has changed?
It's a great question. I think it's me. I said last week, I'm learning about the group and I'm learning about certain people in certain positions. The actual scheme hasn't changed up till this week in terms of how we go about that, but it's something that's come into our game, which is something that's costing us points and that we need to change very quickly.
James?
Just in general, do you think the issue of grappling and holding in the box, does it need to be officiated?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because there's a rule. There's a rule that says it can't be a foul if the ball's not in play yet. So there's a lot of holding and grappling that goes on before the ball's actually delivered. And I think that needs to be looked at, because holding is holding. But I don't want to be bitter. We need to deal with it better. We just need to deal with it better as well. But I think it is something that's coming in. The set plays are massively important in this league, in every league. But it's something that's coming in more and more, and I think it's something that should be looked at. I think we can deal better with it, being honest. I do think there is a block on certain players. One of our players who's trying to head the ball is held. Our goalkeeper's they're running at our goalkeeper. But these things happen. We have to deal with that moment better. In fact, we gift them those 2 set plays. We gift the free kick away before that, and we gift them a corner.
Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you.